Hello everyone, and Carol and Kristen here with Luminous Ministries, today talking about Lent, shedding light on your darkness. And so we're about a week into Lent, and now we're going to do a little checking in with each other to see how our Lenten promises are going, and what we're, talk a little bit about what we're doing to shed light on our darkness and to grow closer to Christ and to rejuvenate that relationship and to be able to, I like to say, love on Jesus, because he is so, Lent, if it does anything, it tells us how incredibly extraordinary is the love of Christ for us. And, we should always be loving, not just Christ, but all people. So how's it going for you, Kristen? Like, what are you doing this Lent to grow closer?
Yeah, to shed light on my darkness. I am trying to speak charitably. And this actually came to me from our priest, Father Andrew. He'll always, like in conversation, he'll say, how to say this charitably. When you come to a situation that's difficult, that you need to speak truthfully about, and it maybe is tough. But I think I loved it when he says it. He said, how to say this charitably. And all of a sudden it really hit me, because I thought, man, I don't think I say things very charitably oftentimes. And it really, I thought, was such a profound thing, because I think something that we struggle with as Catholic Christians is that I think a lot of people think negative emotions, let's push them to the side. They don't exist, or, that's not holy for me to have negative emotions. Mm-hmm. And that's not healthy. Suppressing our emotions is not healthy. That's not what God's asking us to do. He's asking us to express them charitably, and he's also not saying that we shouldn't be real. I think sometimes Christians can come off maybe a little bit fake because, I can't be real about this situation because that wouldn't be very Christ-like. That is yet again not what Jesus is asking us to do. And yet again, that can become really unhealthy. He's yet again saying, if you're dealing with a difficult situation, person, problem, which we all have, we have to be able to do it in a way that's charitable. So that's something that I've really been trying to work on this Lent. It is a lot harder than it seems. It's something that I knew I was really struggling with. It was something that was really dark within me, is that anytime I was struggling with a person, situation, problem, it's just that I wasn't being charitable or loving about my response to it. So my thing has become, and this is a minor example, but let's just use an example so that we can make this more concrete as opposed to abstract. But say you're having a situation where you're struggling with a person and you say, oh, that person is such a jerk. Okay, that would not be charitable. So to express that emotion in a way that is still pleasing to God, but you got to get it out, is to say, I'm really struggling with that person, and how can I do better? How can I love them more? What are some strategies? What are some boundaries? How do we deal with these things in a way that would be pleasing to Christ? And something else I would say is that you have a small group of people, and not even maybe a group, but like a small trusted circle that you go to, because yet again, then it becomes gossip if you're talking to multiple different people. So that's really been what I've been working on this Lenten season, because I want to be my best self. That is a darkness within me that I really struggle with. And so I'm trying to find that balance between being real, not pushing negative emotions to the side, not pretending like things don't exist or anything else, but to be really productive, proactive, and positive, and handling difficult problems in the way that Jesus would want me to. So I'm trying to speak charitably. How about you, Mom?
That's really good, Kristen.
Well, I just think
she said a lot right there, right?
Well, it's something that I think we often get wrong. We either, like I said, suppress.
Right.
That's bad.
Right.
We're fake. That's bad.
Right.
Or we say things that are really not kind and not Christ-like. So, it's one of the three. And, and I think it's also freeing, though. I think it's also freeing to say, yep, we're going to acknowledge difficult situations, but we're going to do it in a way that is, you're not sinning,
Absolutely.
You're not contributing to more problems.
Right. Actually had a similar experience last night. I went to the Defiance Mission, Father Nathan Cromley, fabulous. It was so good. Going back tonight, and I was able to go to a mission, receive reconciliation, beautiful sacrament, and also partake in adoration. So nice. 3 in 1. And so these are all practices that I like to do all year long, but most especially Lent, you need to do those things. Yeah. And in my reconciliation experience, I had a similar situation that I was sharing with the priest, and he had a very similar response to me, in that we cannot deny our emotions. We cannot deny that we have troubling situations and particular people and or life in general that is very difficult for us to navigate. And he was saying that, you know, we certainly need to not bash our feelings and our emotions, but we do need to be real, but we need to be Christ-like in our approach. So,
well, I've even heard it say, you know, like, how is this situation or problem or person sanctifying me?
Yeah.
You know, is it helping me to grow in patience? Is it helping, you know, what virtues is it helping to instill in me? And I've also heard people say, like, God's giving you time to practice, you know, like.
Funny you should say that, because this priest said, you know, God tends to give us lots of opportunities to practice those virtues and vices that we need to practice. And so I said, oh yeah, that is absolutely true. Life in general gives us lots of opportunity to practice the great virtues.
And the great thing is to do better.
Yeah, to do better.
Yeah.
So when I go through Lent, I oftentimes think I want to do some kind of a mortification, and then I want to grow, and I want to grow closer. And so my mortification is to give up all sweets, and that's tough for me because I'm not a big sweet tooth person. I can have just a couple of bites and be done. But I want those couple of bites. I want those couple of M&Ms, whatever it is. I want that really satisfies me. And really, it's an endorphin boost for me.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it is tough to completely give up sweets. And so I 1 week down, and it's going well so far. But it's a sacrifice, and I'm loving that I'm sacrificing for Christ and for the world, because I can, you know, put the whole world in the situation. And when I think of the Ukrainian people and all that they are sacrificing, and I can't give up sweets, are you kidding me? So
I was thinking it's a very appropriate time in the world to be going through
Lent.
Lent.
Yes, it is.
You know,
it's
yeah.
Yes, it is.
It just feels like a Lenten season,
right,
for sure.
Right. So I actually have, I have a mortification, and then my husband and I are both reading a book, and I can't remember the name of his book, and it's really good, but my book is Jesus and the Jewish Roots of the Eucharist, and I'm reading it for two reasons. Because I had a fellow priest, I had a priest, I'm not a priest, I had a priest share with me that this is his favorite book of all time. And he's read it multiple times. He's reading it again. Jesus and the Jewish Roots of the Eucharist by Brant Petrie.
I want to read that
And so I am reading it, and I'm tending to, I really want to understand it. So I'm going back into scriptures. Yesterday, I spent most of the day reading, going back into Exodus and reading all of it in detail. And so really want to grow. So there's my mortification, the sweet thing. There is the book. And then there is a place where I am in darkness, in real darkness, and I'm trying to grow. And it's kind of private, but it's kind of along the same lines as Kristen. And a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, is also doing a growth aspect in her Lenten journey. And we both have something that we're really trying to work on. And we're using each other as accountability partners. So we actually are checking in. We got together this weekend to partake in something that you would think would not feel very Lenten. And that was, we decided to paint a picture. And the purpose of that was to bring more joy into our lives, because when you are lacking in joy, you are not really being the most Christ-like. And to work on just ways that we can better live out the gospel. And so my friend actually suggested that we do the painting thing. And neither one of us are artists, really. I mean, we would not be considered Picassos.
I think she's great, but
yeah, well, you know what? We just did it to do something that would be considered a little bit more relaxing, fun, releasing, and just doing something that is glorifying to God, because it's bringing us joy. And when we are joyful people, we do glorify God.
Well, I think something else about it too, it's doing something productive with your pain.
Right.
You know,
right.
You both have some painful situations, and you're doing something productive with that pain and creative.
Yes.
And, you know, we always feel like our creativity points us to the Creator, you know, and so it becomes a beautiful prayer form even,
right.
you know.
Right. Yeah. So those are, there's the Trinity, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I always like to have a Trinitarian aspect to my Lent, where I have the mortification, the book or books, I should say, that is the book that I'm focusing on. But I've got, during Advent and Lent, I always have a stash. So it's my Lenten stash, and I will just grab my Lenten stash and go at it. So it's, that opportunity to grow closer. And I also recommend that there are so many wonderful Lenten reflections out there. There's so many. And so just pick one and go with it, and do it by yourself or do it with another person. Speaking of that, Mother Teresa, and this was part of something that I did yesterday, but I came across a passage that said that Saint Mother Teresa always said that at least half of your prayer time should be spent in silence before God. And that was a good reminder to me to have that prayer time, but to make sure that I'm also taking time to listen. And I really got a wonderful opportunity last night to do that in adoration, to just, to stare at the presence of God and right before me, and to allow him to love back on me. And it was good space. Very good space. We should spend more time in that space.
For sure. So how are you shedding light on your darkness this Lenten season, and how is that drawing you closer to Christ? Share with us in the comments. Share with us what you're doing for your Lenten season. And if you feel so inspired by today's video and you'd like to support the mission of Luminous Ministries, please visit our website at www.luminousministries.com/donate. And if you'd like to have a Lenten reflection, we are presenting one of our musicals, our Lenten trilogy, The Demands of Truth, in Toledo, March 19th, this Saturday, March 19th. It's not too late to register if you're interested. It's at Our Lady of Lourdes. And so we'll put that information in the description of this video. And if you'd like to join us for that Lenten Day of Reflection, we'd love to have you with us. Praying that you are having a profound Lenten season, and we'll talk to you again soon.